Oh my. Singing in the rain.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see me dancing around that though. Hi, welcome back to another edition of Cookin' Chris's Dishes with the good old boy. That's me, where we're cooking up dishes straight from recipes.crock.com, which is my gorgeous wife's cooking blog, where she has well over 400 recipes now and rising. And today we're going to have a little fun. We've been cooking all day. If you look behind me, you'll see crock pots upon crock pots upon crock pots. Don't worry about the skillet. We're going to get to that later. But this is the last recipe of the day. It's probably going to be one of the quickest to put together, but it's going to be the slowest one to do. And I'll explain that here in a minute. But I'm telling you right now, it's something that with a little time and a little patience and a little finesse, you're going to be very, 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 very happy. This comes from Busy Day Slow Cooking from Gooseberry Patch, and it's called a maple whiskey ribs. And she had me at ribs because I told her, I said, Cris, I want to do a ribs recipe. Some of these foods, I want it to be what I want to cook. And ribs are something that I absolutely love to eat. I think it's a manly food. And so we're going to try it today with this recipe. And what you need to do is to go out and find a package of pork spare ribs. Think of like a Kansas City spare rib. And or so not Kansas City, St. Louis spare rib. Well, they're so close in geography together. But a St. Louis spare rib is what we're using here. And now, good luck finding a 2-pound portion of ribs. I guess if you want to buy a pack and then cut it in half, it'll be about 2 pounds. All we could find was between 4 and 5 pounds. So what I'm about to show you today is a double batch of what you'll see in Busy Day Slow Cooking. The only thing that I did not double is the purple onion, or the red onion, whatever you want to call it, because I think one giant red onion is enough for any recipe. I don't care how big it is. But what you'll need is the following. One package, which like I said will run you about between 4 and 5 pounds, of St. Louis spare ribs. And this is not a package of St. Louis spare ribs. I've spared you the details of me cutting into this. I'm going to show you how I cut mine up by leaving 2 bones here, but the rest of it's already in the crock pot. You also need one purple or red onion, whatever y'all call it, sliced up like this. All I did was cut it in half and then started slicing it up. You also need 1 cup, and again, this is what a double batch looks like. You need 1 cup of pure maple syrup. You need 1/4 cup, which is 4 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. And then you also need 1/2 cup of whiskey. Now I am using a maple whiskey. I haven't gotten into this much. But you need a 1/2 cup of a maple whiskey. Any kind of whiskey will do. We found that my wife thought it'd be really cool to keep the maple trend going, and she found a maple type Kentucky bourbon.
If they don't like whiskey or they don't want to use it,
use apple juice. That will work just fine. I wouldn't use pineapple juice. I'd go with straight up apple juice. Around our house, we don't drink a lot of whiskey, but we can have it in the house, and I've tried a nip of that. Just a nip, I promise. But it was very, very good. Very mapley flavor, very sweet, and I think it's going to go well with the maple syrup and the other ingredients here. And that is it. If you notice, there's no salt. There's no pepper, there's no heat. We're going to get to that because what I'm going to do after I have shown you how to make up these ribs is I'm going to take the juices that are left over from the finished product, and I'm going to show you how to make your own barbecue sauce to go with this. And I am hoping that it turns out well because it's like the first time I've ever done it.
Don't worry, if it doesn't, we have you covered.
Yeah, we got some sweet baby Rays there in the background. See that right there? All right. So, like I said, I've already cut up the ribs, got it prepped up because it takes a little bit of time to cut the ribs up. But what I do is I take my ribs and I start by cutting them in half because ribs are long. And then I take a knife, and be very careful with this, don't cut yourself. And I go along the inside, keeping my knife against one of the rib bones. And then what that does is you'll have one side that's just a bone, and then the other side is all the meat and It looks really, really good already. Trust me, I'll cook this before I eat it. And then all I do is just toss it in a crock pot. There's no fancy way to do it. Just throw it in there because it's going to cook in those juices on a real low temperature for 8 hours, which is going to break down all the connective tissue and the meat that's on the bones, because ribs aren't really a tender meat. So you want to cook them low and slow, and by doing that, it's going to make them very tender. If you've ever gone to a restaurant and had a really good serving of ribs, you know what I'm talking about. But then once you've got that done, first thing I'm going to do is wash my hands because I've been touching raw meat. So let me get rid of my cutting board and wash my hands.
We also want to clean that station.
Yes, we want to clean that station up because raw meat bad. Unless you're eating sushi, and well, you're probably not going to see sushi recipes on a slow cooker site.
Let's hope not.
Just so we can get it all cleaned up. We're good. All right, now the workstation is cleaned up. Let me get rid of my cleaner there. And then take your onions and lay them on top. Kind of break it up a little bit. Put them on top of your ribs.
Is your camera still recording? Because I heard something kick off.
That was the dishwasher. This is, yep, we're still recording,
okay.
Which is good. And then you take your maple syrup. Oh, no snap. What?
You gotta mix them all together, everything all together.
Oh! You know, she told me a while ago, she said, why don't you just have the cookbook out? I don't need no Speakin cookbook. I can do this from memory. Lord have mercy, I hope nobody was like right there pouring with me, because that would have been bad. Sorry. I'm sorry. You take your maple syrup in a mixing bowl. Came out rather clean. So good. You take your Dijon mustard, which is not going to come out so easy. Let me get a spoon. Dijon mustard in your mixing bowl. And then your...
Was that a sweet dear?
Not really. Nice little tart. And then your half... Oh, that Dijon mustard's good, but woo, don't just... nuh-uh. And then your half cup of your whiskey, or like I said, we're using a bourbon whiskey. That's better. And just mix it up real good. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's all going to cook down anyway, but kind of marry the flavors up. Try not to splash it all over the kitchen and watch your wife make funny noises at you. Just like that. And now I'm okay to pour it over. You go with it now?
Yeah.
Oh. One, you can really smell the whiskey, of course. And not just the alcohol of the whiskey, but the maple in the whiskey. And then, of course, the maple syrup and the Dijon mustard. It's really good. So just pour that over the top of your ribs. Now, the recipe said to, you know, like kind of baste your ribs with it. Just pour it over. It'll be all right. And once you've got that done, you're going to set this on low. Low. There is no high setting for ribs. Set it on low for at least 8 hours, and you want to check it around 8 hours just to make sure that they're tender. You want fall off the bone tender. And once you've got that done, I'm going to show you what the ribs themselves look like before we jump into making a sauce to go over the top. I got mustard over my hands. So I'll move this crock out of the way. Put this crock in the frame. Won't be full meat china shop. Put that right there in a frame. And this is what your ribs look like. Let me grab a plate real quick and plate these out.
I thought you were going to put them on the cookie sheet.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Don't need a plate. Sorry, like I said, this is the last of the recipes that we're doing today.
Yeah.
So, we're glad to be done, but I wanted to save this one for last. your ribs, look at that, they're real, and I will show you, just look how, if you can see, that is going right through the meat. So these are very tender, very delicate. They smell really good. I will be honest with you, because I wouldn't lie at all. I did sneak a taste of these a while ago while my wife was headed to the store. And they are very good. You can really taste the maple, of course. And you can also really taste the onion in them. Oh. That one onion is very powerful. So I don't necessarily think that if you double the recipe that you should double the onion. Unless you're like really super crazy. Look how fall apart that is. Unless you're really super crazy about onion. We like onion, but not enough to go nuts over and double up the recipe on it. Oh, there's a big hunk. There's like a Fred Flintstone piece right there. Or I like to call it my piece.
I don't know. Addie's been waiting all day.
Yeah, she's been talking about this pretty much all day. I don't know when we were going to do the ribs recipe because she wanted to come down and taste them. So I don't think she's going to be disappointed. There's a little piece right there. Just put that. All right. So this is what your ribs look like when they're cooked. They're very, very tender. Let me take a piece off, you know, for
science.
The sake of science, the sake of just showing you, you know, what it's like. Let's see if we can get a piece right here where you can see. And that is just fall apart tender. Perfect.
Oh.
And we just splashed it all over the camera. Sorry about that. And we'll give it the official taste test.
Oh, you don't need to taste it.
Oh, yes, I yabba yabba do. I'm telling you right now.
Are you okay?
I rate off camera. I rate the recipes from 1 to 10. This one got turned up to 11 real quick. And if you think by the look of my face how good it is now cranked up to 11, I'm about to turn it into 15. So I've got my broiler going, but before I can broil anything, let me get... I am beating the stuffings out of that camera.
Like, get the juices on that lens because...
No, but now I got a fingerprint on there. Thanks a lot. So what I want to do is I want to take...
Oh my word.
And this is going to be very precise measurements. Are you ready? Because I could probably make a sauce out of all that. You could probably even bottle it up.
Well, here's your measurement. I think that ladle is about a half cup.
This ladle is about a half a cup. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, and for that many ribs, we'll go with 2 cups. Let me get just a little extra in here to make sure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a barbecue sauce. So what I need to do is I'm going to take this camera off, bring you over to the stove. I got to move a light so you can actually see what's going on. And give me just a second, I'll show you what I'm doing. Alright, so I've taken my approximately 2 cups of the juices that were left over from my ribs, and I've got that on a boil. I've set this to high and I've got it on a boil, and you can see it's already starting to come to a boil down there. And this is all just experiment. This could totally go bad. I just hope not. But as you notice, there was no salt in the recipe by itself, so I'm going to use a teaspoon of salt. Actually, nah, about a teaspoon and a half of salt. So let's say 2/3 teaspoon of salt. I also want to do some cayenne pepper. It's really hot. I've also got the broiler going. And I would say just a dash of cayenne pepper, because this stuff's hot. Depending on how much heat you want, you like in there. You be the judge to the heat level. And I'm also going to add, to put some more sugar in this, you have to come with me because I left my bottle over there. I'm going to add and I'm being very precise about this now, tablespoon and a half of the maple whiskey. Now you're bringing this to a boil. Most of the alcohol is going to burn out of it. By the time you broil it, all of the alcohol is going to boil out of it or cook out of it, and you're just going to get that maple flavor. That's going to add a little extra sugar into your sauce. So you got the salt, the cayenne pepper, and the whiskey, along with what was already in your batch. And that is really starting to thicken up already. You need to keep an eye on this. Do not walk away from this because it is boiling rapidly. And that's what you're doing. This is called making a reduction. You're taking the water out of it. This is like a diluted sauce already. But if you take the water out of it and cook it down, try to keep it in the skillet because that's really fun to clean up with all that sugar. When you cook it down, that's how you get a sauce. You're taking the flavor from the ribs itself, from the onion, from the mustard, from the whiskey, and from the maple syrup. Add a couple more ingredients there at the end to make it a little saltier, a little hotter, and of course, whiskey. And it'll thicken up here very, very shortly. I'll probably end up speeding this tape up so you don't have to watch the full thing. All you'll probably hear is a bunch of jibber jabber going really fast. Alright, now if you look, this is starting to thicken up quicker and quicker and quicker. That water is being boiled off. In fact, I'm going to quickly just shut off my stove. That way I don't mess up and, one, burn myself because I'm good at it. And two, again, you don't want this to caramelize down to a black char because that probably wouldn't taste too good on the ribs. But look how that's thickened up. You see most of the water starting to go away. We'll stir this up for just a little bit longer. Alright, as you can see, most of the water has gone out. See, it's thickened up really good. And so now you're done. Remove it from the heat. And voila! This is what your sauce is going to look like that you're going to rub over your ribs. Now, after doing this, and by the way, don't put a hot skillet on your counter unless it's like granite because I don't want you to melt your countertops because of me. But I probably could have done a little bit more. I probably should have put about another third as much in there. We'll go with what we got. And now you want to brush it on your ribs. Right on top. And have your broiler on already. I was going to do something really cool and show you guys how to do this on the grill. But one, it's been raining all day. And two, well, it's dark outside. I'm scared of the dark. So we're going to do this under the broiler, kind of like how we did our barbecue chicken drumsticks recipe, if y'all remember that one. I know we got a bunch of comments on it that people really enjoyed them.
Well, and to be honest, because they're so fall apart, you're probably going to save a lot of your ribs by doing it in the broiler and not on the grill.
I agree.
I mean, you could always line the grill and all that, but if they fall apart by just picking them up, they'll fall apart.
Yeah, the more you handle these ribs, the more you will have the tendency of them falling apart. In fact, when I was pulling those out, a couple of them did fall apart. Let me move that ladle out of the way. A couple of them did fall apart on me, which is okay, because I'll eat them, whether they're apart or together. Yeah, I probably should have went with at least 4 cups of that in there, because I barely got just enough to cover these ribs. I could always make more later. It doesn't matter, you're fine. We'll kind of share. You guys back in the front that got all that are going to share with the guys in the back. It's always nice to share. Unless you're coming over for ribs, and then you can't have any. I'm just kidding. You can have some. You can have some if you want. But this is really exciting because I've never done this part before on my own. So we're going to see how we did. Let me get rid of my skillet. I won't put that in there. Let's try it. Yeah, I guess I should have tasted the sauce
before putting it all over the ribs. Is it good? Dear,
okay. Yes.
I do have to tell you something before you. I know you're going to want to eat like the biggest, best one out of that, but I need to take a picture.
Okay,
that's food blogger problems. So
yeah.
You need
food blogger husband problems.
You need to pick the non-pretty one to eat.
But I always pick the prettiest of everything.
Oh, whatever.
All right, so now the next step, like I said, ouch!
What did you do?
Touch the burner.
Your light is
The
off.
next step, first move your lighting out of the way. Second off is don't touch a hot surface. I am a walking PSA in my own kitchen for what you should not do. When you're talking, keep your eye on the knife. When you're cooking, keep your hand off the stove or any other hot surface. So we're going to try this again. Don't touch the hot stove. And I've had my broiler on for 550 this whole time, so I know it's hot. I'm going to take my ribs and put them in there right underneath the broiler. And then we're just going to stand here and chat
this
for a little
would be
bit.
a very bad time to go take a bathroom break.
Yes.
Or go
so
get the
if
mail.
you got to go,
hold it.
Hold it. Because you don't want to burn your ribs. You don't want to be in the bathroom going, uh-oh. You know. So don't do that. Stay where you're at. You can hold it. And if you can't, you got problems. Because you don't want to walk away from these. Like right now, I'm nervous just talking to you, looking at you when I should be looking at my ribs. Because they're not baking. It's okay to open this up. They're not baking. They're going under direct, extremely hot heat. All you're doing is caramelizing that sauce on top of those ribs to make it stick. Already, I'm hearing a sound, which is good. How you doing? All right, we're gonna keep these. I probably should have brought that the rack up a little bit closer.
I think it'll be fine. No, you
don't
need
do
to
it.
catch things on fire.
You don't want to catch things on fire, especially yourself, like I just about did when I put my hand on the burner.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I can hear it.
It's a crackle.
Do you hear that crackling sound?
Yeah.
That's the stuff caramelizing on top of the ribs. Don't walk away. I should have timed this, but I don't know. It's not going to take more than a couple minutes to make this happen.
Well, and it might be different because some people have broilers that have different settings, and it's kind of like crock pots. You just need to know what your own equipment does.
Yep. Don't walk away. Don't do it. Just hang with me here. We'll talk for a little bit. We'll just chat. What are y'all doing? What have you been doing here lately? What's your hobbies? What are your passions? What do you live for? Is it to watch these videos? I don't know.
Oh my.
I'm making small talk, chit chat, kitchen talk. You know, chewing the fat. In a little bit, I'll be chewing the ribs.
But not the pretty one.
Not the pretty one. No, not until we're done taking pictures of it. Again, I'm watching. It's starting to bubble up on the top. The bigger, prettier ones that are bigger are starting to caramelize up a little bit.
You mean the ones you're not allowed to eat?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this camera right here and show you what it looks like inside my broiler. Look at this. Look at that. Can you see that bubbling up? Oh, yeah. Doesn't that look good? That looks so good. You see them bubbling up there in the back? Starting to caramelize there in the front, starting to brown up, starting to crisp up. Dinner is about done. Just be patient. Good things come to those who wait. And it's about to come right now. Okay. So now our ribs. Oh, we're going to get the pretty plate.
Stacking pretty.
I'm going to go just a couple seconds longer. Not much. Not much longer. But just long enough for those to brown up. What I might do is turn them so that they cook evenly. I'm doing my best not to burn myself. I'm not very good at that. Like I said, the prep time for this is very short, very simple. The longest thing it'll take to do is to cut your ribs up into the pieces, the serving pieces. But it's going to take a lot longer if you make your own sauce. But your reward will be very, very sweet in the end, very mapley in the end. And you know what? It makes me feel good knowing that I made my own sauce. There's nothing wrong with store-bought barbecue sauce if you want some.
And
I'm
if they
feeling
want to
pretty
skip
manly
that
about
step,
this.
they can use...
Hey, shh, I can't talk right now. I've got to watch my ribs.
Oh,
if
good.
I burn these ribs, I will disappoint the world.
You better not mess up my picture.
Nope. And guess what?
What?
Hey, guess what?
What?
They're done, dude. What do I do with my fingers? I'm going to move this.
You better hurry if they're done. That's hot.
Oh.
Put that there.
That would fit so bad. I'm
Just
running out of
get
time.
your ribs out. Oh my goodness.
Are you nervous?
I'm very nervous.
She's terrified. It's like a scene in an action movie. We only saved the ribs in time. Just in time.
Michael!
I touched the...
What are you doing?
I touched the door. It's okay. I've been burnt before. I can barely feel my fingers anyway now. I don't want to shut that off.
What did you do with your things? Okay. Stack them pretty.
Oh, wow. I'm going to show you the best looking one, the prettiest one, is right here. Take a look. Can't even see what I'm doing here. Take a look at that. See all that brown caramelized bit on the top? That is pretty. Take them. Be very careful because they are fall apart tender.
They look great.
They
Good
smell
job.
good. Can you
Good.
smell that? How good it smells?
Mm-hmm.
My mouth is watering.
It smells like
Heaven.
mapley deliciousness.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, I could almost have these for breakfast. In fact, I might just do that tomorrow.
Ribs and pancakes.
Why not? If they smell this good. Maple bacon ribs. Or maple whiskey ribs. There's a difference. Because, you know, what screams breakfast more than whiskey?
No.
Just kidding. No. Alright, I'm going to say that's what I'll use.
Okay, just leave the platter for me to take a picture of. You can... Okay.
Right across the top. No, oh, well,
You can taste
you've got some pretty ones in there.
Alright, go on and taste it.
Okay, because I gave you some pretty ones, but
You saved a great big one
I
for you.
saved the prettiest one for me. Kind of like I did with my women. So let me grab a smaller plate and show you my face when I eat this. Take a look at this one, y'all. This is the best looking one on the whole thing.
That you're gonna eat.
Oh, and I'm gonna eat it. Hey, I made these. In fact, I keep pulling that up. Having a time here. Been a long day cooking. Been a long day
It's gonna
waiting
be really hot,
on
Mike.
these ribs. Eh, by the way, this is gonna be really hot, so be careful. You might let these sit for a few minutes, just kind of let them cool off,
But of course you're not going to.
and let them rest, kind of like you do steak or anything. If you let it rest, it won't be so tender where it like completely just slides right off the bone. Gives you something to hang on to. I just entered another dimension of happy.
Oh, you're rotten.
So sweet. Those are some sweet ribs. The one thing that I would have done better is I would have doubled as much sauce that I made. Just so there would have been more, because
Your sauce is good.
the sauce is good. I should bottle that and sell it. Mikey's Maple Whiskey barbecue sauce. Michael's Maple. I can't even say it. Michael? No, that's
Good
only if I'm
old
in
boy.
trouble. Mikey's Maple Whiskey barbecue sauce. Give me a minute. That's so good. You y'all want to make your own sauce. I'm telling you right now. That is so good. There's a piece of onion. And the onion, sweet. Wasn't that? I could eat this and talk about this all day, but this tape has gone a little too long. So I want to thank you. We both do, for watching another episode of Cookin' Chris's Dishes with the good old boy. If you would, please subscribe down below where it says subscribe and become a part of the Crockpot Slow Cooking family. And also, if you would, check us out on Facebook. Give us a like over at Recipes That Crock, as well as Good Old Tunes with Good Old Boy, that's me, where we promo these videos as well as put on some music and other fun things from the family. And again, y'all keep watching and we'll keep cooking. And I'm telling you right now, y'all gonna keep me watching me eat these ribs. Keep watching, we'll keep cooking, and all will be well. Bye.